Hey, how's it going? This is once again the ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show. I'm Kenneth K-Rock Klein, but you already know that by now. And, well, it's time to talk women's basketball. Now, last week, of course, we had the assistant coach, Kayla Pinson, but this week we're going back to old times as we are bringing back Rusty Rainbolt. Well, Coach Rainbolt, first of all, I'm sure you probably saw Coach Henson's interview last week. How do you think he did?
He's a natural. I mean, I heard the viewership was through the roof, like 2 million hits on YouTube and everything, so I'm surprised you guys even let me come back today. Coach Henson's a lot more fun to talk to than I am.
Oh, come on. You've had some fun moments as well on the show here. But, all right, Coach, so with that out of the way, let's kind of talk about what's been going on the past couple of weeks or so. You got back to playing basketball as a team, and last week, obviously, you had your first real tough test at the University of Texas, Dallas, and at their place. And obviously, you would think that with how things went down last year, that everything would go according to plan, but not necessarily the case because you had to overcome an early deficit. You got to within a single point, but then they just kind of ran off there. So just kind of talk about, the things that stood out to you in that game that you thought were pretty assuring about how far this team could be.
Well, honestly, it didn't. In no way did that game not go according to plan the way I thought it might could. They're a good team. A couple of days before we played them, they played Thomas More, the number 2 team in the nation, on their home court, and they lost a 3-point lead with 30 seconds left to lose, I think, by 1 or 2. So they had Thomas More beat. Dallas has a very good program, a great coach, and do a really good job. But we knew that going in, it was going to be a tough game on their place. We fighting through some injuries, and most of these kids have never played in that environment, and so that was the thing about it. It really, everybody looks at the score and thinks, well, you lost, oh, golly, this and that. It doesn't bother me a bit. Honestly, we want to just be the best team we can be, and you have to go through learning curves, and, we haven't had the toughest schedule, not because we scheduled it that way, but some teams that we thought would be better this year just haven't ended up being as good as what they should have been or we thought were going to be. So yeah, it was one. We played at Maryland Baylor. That was a really tough test, and then we played at Dallas, and that was a tough test. And our kids have done a good job of just honoring the Lord every day, coming in and trying to get better as a team, grow spiritually, compete. And that was the thing that I was so impressed with is after we lost to Dallas, they came in the next day and we watched a lot of film and had the best practice we've had in my 2 years of being here, and then came back out on Saturday and really, really competed hard. And I was just really proud of them. But, we're never going to get past the point of where, and you know how this is in athletics, everybody judges you by the scoreboard. That's fine. That's just the way the world is. But we're not going to judge it that way. We're going to look at it and see, are we honoring the Lord first? Are we performing up to the giftings and talents that He's given us? Are we using them to the full measure of what they can be used and for His glory? And then go from there. And so, honestly, we're just, I'm proud of the kids. I love this group of girls. It's by far the funnest team I've ever had to coach. And so we've got a long way to go to playing to our full potential, but they're working at that, we are too as coaches. So just hoping God's getting the glory and being honored, and we'll keep coming in every day and trying to get better.
I heard a little ding there, so that must mean that there's a positive answer out of that. But all right, Coach, so obviously you got some great players that have been playing well, but I think one player that has really stepped up her game is Amanda Wilson. It seems like 6 of the last 9 games or so, she's kind of gotten herself among the scoring leaders, averaging double figures as well. So just kind of talk about, the fact that she was here before you got here, and obviously now that she's had to buy into the program with what your vision for the program is. Just kind of talk about her play and, how she's been able to handle herself.
Well, Amanda is one of my favorites. She's I think I said this to you a while back, that she's kind of like that old pair of boots that you always just go back to when you need something that you can enjoy and you're going to get to work or you're going to have a good day and relax. It's just something you feel comfortable with. Amanda is that for me. I love coaching her. She's a competitor. She loves the game. She's a closet junkie in terms of basketball wise because she watches the NBA, watches college athletics. She's a big Alabama football fan, but she has really good instincts and really good knowledge and really sharp when it comes to athletics. And so she's fun to coach. She is one of those kids that you're going to hear her. You can be, 2 rooms away, but she just has a big, energetic personality and is always infecting the room in a positive way. And so, Amanda's not flashy with what she does, but she's always very productive. She was the leading field goal percentage scorer in the league most of the first semester, all the first semester. I think at like 55% on offense, and I think right now she's like 55, and the girl from UT Dallas is like 56. But she's second in the league in field goal percentage offense. That's phenomenal. She doesn't take a lot of shots, but when she does, it goes in, and she's averaging almost 10 points a game, taking very few shots. But we need to get her more touches. She had a kind of a shoulder injury a little bit while back, and I think that kind of slowed her down just a touch, and has had a few nagging things here and there. But she competes, and love coaching her, and I think the girls love having her out there. So she's definitely a blessing.
Certainly, Coach.
I hope she doesn't see this because her head might get bigger than what it
well,
is now.
We'll just try to make it a point not to boost their egos a little bit, because sometimes they do need a little bit of humbling. And speaking of humbling, of course, you have 2 losses in the conference, and obviously that's kind of a big deal at this point, because you look at the AFC East standings, yourself, UT Dallas, and Ozarks currently tied for the top spot, although right now Dallas has a head-to-head matchup at first place. But at this point, you really are more concerned about getting to the 4. So when you're kind of going through a tight division at this point, is there pressure kind of there just to try to play to the best of your ability, but also try to, see if you can pick up some wins and just try to, help yourself further with a little help from other teams?
Well, we would definitely, we talked about it. You can win 3 championships in a year. You can win the regular season, you can win the tournament, and then you can win a national championship, and we want to win all 3, no doubt about that. But the thing that I have learned that I try to convey with our team is we're not going to put that type of pressure on ourselves, because ultimately we want to be a team that advances the kingdom of God. And we have to look at what truly has value and matters is that. And if we get so consumed with the scoreboard, like I said, you have 2 losses and that's a big deal in conference. Well, it's not really a big deal. People fight cancer every day. There's people that get divorced every day. There's kids that struggle with life every day. Those are things that are big deals. We want to keep them in perspective. It doesn't mean we don't care. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter. But ultimately, this team is only as valuable as its ability to promote the gospel. And so, whether I think, what are we, 13-2? People will focus a lot more on those 2 losses than they will the 13 wins. But ultimately, if we can win and dishonor the Lord, and we can lose and still honor the Lord, and that's what we want. We want every day is just for Him to get the glory. And so, we want to be the best we can. But ultimately, these kids and coaches, we just need to come in here every day and try to, like I said earlier, play up to a standard that allows us to honor the giftings and talents that He's given us. And if that ends up, first in the West or in the East, great. But last year we were 3rd in the East and made a run. And so we just got to be our best, every single day, and leave the rest of the scoreboard and the rankings and stats. Leave that to everybody else that cares more about that than honestly what's going on in the hearts and lives of these kids.
Certainly, Coach. And final question, of course, this weekend. Well, you got yourself another series of home games here at Ornelas Gymnasium. You're taking on Louisiana College and Belhaven University. Should be a couple of exciting games. I know that the last time you played LC was a hard-fought game, but in the end, 1 shot that was deflected and game is over. You came away up empty-handed. So just kind of talk about, it's always the same mindset going into, different opponents as well. But kind of talk about, what it is that you need to bring to the table, given the fact that you're currently battling you're currently in a tight division race at this point.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I haven't watched any film of Louisiana or Belhaven up to this point. It's Monday, and so we'll kind of start on that today. But, we're going to watch film of our game from Saturday today. I didn't do anything on Sunday basketball related, so I haven't even had a chance to watch Saturday's game. We'll watch that today as a staff. We'll watch it today as a team, and then we'll come in tomorrow. And if we need to watch more film of us, we'll do that. But then we'll start preparing for our opponent, in Louisiana College and Belhaven tomorrow. So I couldn't tell you a whole lot about them. I mean, other than looking at the rankings and making an uneducated judgment about, just looking at their stats and stuff. But they'll compete. You know that. I mean, there's no easy games in this league, period. So we have a healthy respect for every single team we play, whether it's, Dallas or it's Sweetwater High School. We're gonna prepare the same way. So, but ultimately, it doesn't. For us, we are trying to we're finding out more and more every day. It's not as much about who we're playing as the way we play is going to dictate a lot of things. And so we've got to play better in every area of the game. And so we're trying to do that.
All right, Coach. Well, the water may be sweet in Sweetwater, but with you, it gets sweeter here in Marshall, Texas.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're such a charmer.
Oh, let's not go there. All right, Coach. We will hopefully see you next week. Well, of course, we will see you next week because we got more season to talk about. But in the meantime, we will have more on this YouTube channel. You'll know who our next coach is in just a moment.